Hello and welcome. I'm super excited to introduce these two teams, Team Empire and Scary Faces, both of whom are running with very new rosters. In general, Team Empire just announcing who they're going to be playing with. Down the list, we're going to be starting out with Resolution, Aloha Dance, No Fear, General, and Silent. You might remember General from Scary Faces. He played with them just yesterday. And for Scary Faces, it's going to be Art Style, Meow, RMN, Axmo, and Shadowy. Should be a lot of fun. A full best of 5 between two very potent teams, and it'll be interesting to see the new team synergies as they're running with very, very new rosters. Whoever wins this best of 5 will have themselves a ticket to Vilnius for the studio LAN of the GameShow Global Esports Cup, the first LAN of the year for this tournament, and it should be very good to watch. Let's see who's going to be able to take it. Right now, Scareface is going to open up with the Slaughter first pick for their side after having Doom, Tusk, Io, and Shadow Fiend being banned. In their last head-to-head matchup, and I believe the defense, Team Empire took the series 2-0 against Scary Faces, but any past matches don't really mean very much to anything when you're dealing with so many shuffled players on both sides. I'm really interested to see how General fares against his former teammates, but it's not like a lot of the old teammates from Scary Faces are actually there. Shadowy's the only one that's been playing with Scary Faces consistently over the past couple of months, at the very least. Scary Faces were running with pretty much the same roster as they are going into today, with the exception being Meow is their replacement for General. It'll be very interesting to see how they shake down their lane assignments and who's actually going to take what. Queen of Pain will be the first pick for Team Empire. No big surprises there. Already some very powerful heroes on the board for both sides. But Winter Wyvern still available would be the next selection for Team Empire. Again, nobody should really be super surprised by this Winter Wyvern pick. For now, we're staying true to the metagame in general. A lot of aggression, a lot of emphasis on counter initiation from your supports. And Winter Wyvern's pretty darn good at doing that, especially against a Slaughter who relies almost exclusively on his physical damage to get kills. The Cold Embrace could very easily turn around a couple of engagements. On top of that, the Winter's Curse in general just offers massive amount of utility. But is it going to be enough against Scary Faces? Now with the Wind Ranger. Even without having a lot of damage items, this Wind Ranger can do so much if you have the amp also applied to that target. With just the Aghanim Scepter, usually not enough to get Wind Ranger easy kills, but with amp it sure is. The mid lane matchup, Queen of Pain versus Wind Ranger, could very easily go either way. Wind Ranger is fairly elusive, especially to the Winter Wyvern's style of poking and prodding in the mid lane with that Arctic Burn. Not a whole lot of killing potential between those two heroes unless you have outside help, which very well could come in the next couple of picks. Beastmaster will be the ban from Scary Faces. Hero that's seeing a little bit more play as of late. In general, I really like that he is being selected. Once you get that Necronomicon, your pushing power is huge. Your initiation edge is also there, even through BKB with the Beastmaster's Roar. A strong pick that synergizes nicely with the Queen of Pain when it comes to playstyle and the timing windows you're trying to hit. Queen of Pain should probably find herself level 8, Beastmaster level 6 at about the same timing window if they're offlane and mid respectively. A little bit of difference here and there, but regardless, they'll be hitting really hard. And that amount of single target lockdown is not something that Scary Faces want to deal with. A Winter Wyvern plus a Beastmaster could have been very annoying. Next couple of bans will come out with Dazzle banned by Team Empire. Always something you want to keep in mind when you're going up against a Slider. And Earthshaker the ban from Scary Faces. Winter Wyvern Earthshaker, although a tad defensive when it comes to popular supporting duos right about now, is a very potent one as the game progresses later. And if you pick up self-sufficient laners like the Queen of Pain that are able to deal damage off the back of that early follow-up, there really isn't a weak stage for them at all. Team Empire going to chew through a good chunk of their reserve time now as they consider this last ban and next pickup. What's it gonna be? They'll ban out the Night Stalker. Fair enough. And Darkseer's still available. I think that'll be their pick. At least that's something they'll consider for their offlane, for sure. Is it what they're going to select, though? I don't see a good reason to not go for the Darkseer. In general, it combos so nicely inside the fights with the Winter Wyvern and Queen of Pain. I'm pretty surprised that he hasn't been banned out already. Hmm. Other than that, yeah, nothing immediately comes to mind as a standout pick for Team Empire here, and maybe they have something else that they want to get their hands on. Gyrocopter also wouldn't be a bad selection if they're just going for safe picks, but I'm all for the more unconventional ones. Broodmother also gets special mention as a hero that's been left through the pool. Although Scary Faces have a good amount of catch for the Broodmother, especially with both Wind Ranger and Slaughter go for the Blink Dagger, never something you really want to be giving away. A lot of those annoying heroes that are usually fourth banned are available. Both Huskar and Broodmother have made their way through this draft, although I think it's unlikely that Huskar will be picked up by Team Empire. They are just going to settle on that Darkseer. This is really just tried and true. Darkseer, Winter Wyvern, Queen of Pain, it doesn't get much scarier in your mid-game team fights when you're dealing with a Blink Vacuum, Winter's Curse, Sonic Wave. Their ability to clump up and then destroy is ridiculous. It doesn't come at the cost of lane power either. All three of these heroes do quite well. For Scary Faces, how are they going to tie things up? For killing off the Darkseer, maybe they want something like a Disruptor. In general, pretty good against the Queen of Pain also. Would not be a bad selection here if they just want to go for a more stable support. Disruptor is a tad on the damage light side, with Wind Ranger and Slaughter already available, though I don't think that's going to bother them too much. Also, Rubik's not bad here either for Scary Faces. Having just any sort of instant disable to pop Darkseer out of that surge, and instead it's going to be the Bane. I like this quite a bit, actually. It's going to be a little bit more single target focus than the Disruptor, but in general has a better time at poking and prodding against the Darkseer than either of the two selections that I was mentioning earlier. With the Nightmares able to waste the time of the Darkseer surge, so it still taps into that lane counter to the Darkseer to waste his one escape mechanism. And in general is a very solid hero, especially in combination with the Slaughter and Wind Ranger, both of whom benefit very much so from the Nightmares setup, for either Crush or for the Shackle.
Sven stands ready.
Sven, the selection for Team Empire. Oh, I love me some Sven. In this game, no exception. The Warcry especially is going to be very valuable against Scary Faces. Somewhat mitigates the impacts of Slaughter's amplified damage. Not entirely until it's maxed out, and even then you still have to deal with the physical damage coming up from this Wind Ranger. But still, I really like where Team Empire are going with this draft. The amount of follow-up they have to this Darkseer's Vacuum is immense, and even without the Darkseer Vacuum, it's not like they need the Darkseer in order to be able to take these fights. Just in a vacuum, Sven and Queen of Pain are pretty darn solid. Sven is not without his issues, though. He's very easily kited, and with the Bane already on the table, even getting BKB is not going to be a 100% reliable way to keep this Sven moving through the engagements. But if Team Empire are the ones that are on the aggressive, either blinking with the Sven or the Darkseer, like this pick, but it looks like Scary Faces want to amp up the aggression themselves as they pick up this Spirit Breaker. Another hero that's going to give Sven difficulty through BKB. I don't think that's really going to make Team Empire too sad about it, and it's still always a chance that this is going to be a support Sven. They pick up another safe lane altogether if they feel like Sven would not have a good enough time even if he got that farm. And mostly just be there for the reliable stun and the Warcry. As a support, Sven's still able to transition and wouldn't be a terrible choice for Team Empire, but I have a feeling this is going to be a safe lane farmer for them. Now for Team Empire's ban. Scary Faces themselves have a lot of lane flexibility. We don't know for sure if this is going to be any sort of specific role for Scary Faces, but Team Empire are going to ban out the Bounty Hunter. They don't want to get caught up by that massive amount of vision, and the Disruptor is going to be banned by Scary Faces themselves, but just with that Bounty Hunter pick, Scary Faces could have been able to snowball through with the vast amount of pickup potential that they have. Team Empire are going to be comfortable taking this one to a late game scenario. And we'll have to see if they're going to be able to get that. For Team Empire's last, something like a Lina could be a nice selection here. Although a tad bit on the squishy side, taps into the very classic Sven-Lina combination in the laning stage. Straight stun and light strike array follow-up. Can't really say no to that. Combos nicely with the Darkseer, but maybe they feel like they need something else. I still would like to see something with a stun, and hey, Witch Doctor fits that description, although it's a very broad and general one. Paralyzing Cask, especially when you're going aggressive with the Spirit Breaker and Slaughter. Trying to dive towers can be very difficult into the Witch Doctor. Again, it is a tad on the squishy side, but I think Team Empire's lineup looks really solid across the board. I think one of their few weaknesses is the fact that this Sven might have a bit of difficulty in the safe lane getting farm against a very aggressive lane if Scary Faces do decide to go 2 or 3 heroes up in top. And still has his kiting issues, but I think in general, Team Empire, I really like this. I really do. Now, for Scary Faces, not to say they have a bad lineup. They're going to be more focused on finding these pickoffs rather than the 5-on-5 fight, which really is the most impressive part about Team Empire's draft right about now. You really can't top what they're putting together with one more pick for Scary Faces, I suppose. Scary Faces are going to need to take more precise initiations, find the shackle, find a single pickoff, and then move on once it's 5 versus 4 into Team Empire. 54 seconds to consider this last pick. What's it going to be, Scary Faces? It's going to be a silencer. A nice response to this general team fight idea coming out from Team Empire, and a great way to cancel out Witch Doctor's Death Ward channeling. There's just not a great way to answer this. However, this silencer pick does not really answer all of the questions about how the lanes are going to shake down. So let's introduce our teams as we switch our overlays and get into it. It's going to be Artstyle on the Artstyle on the Radiant side playing the Spirit Breaker. Shadowy's going to be the other support for Scary Faces playing on the Bane. Meow is the stand-in. I have been told that it is just Meow on this Wind Ranger. We'll have to see how he performs. A new name, at least for me. Axmo is going to be handling the Slaughter, and safe lane farming Silencer by RMN. Darkseer going in the bottom lane. That's going to be Resolution. Aloha Dance will be playing the Witch Doctor. No Fear on the Winter Wyvern. Just to the left of them. Queen of Pain by General. Ooh. Missing the mark a little bit there. And Silent will be playing on the Sven. This isn't a ticketed game. Unfortunately, the GameShow ticket's still not in the Dota 2 store for reasons I have no idea about. But yeah, let's see how well both of these teams are going to be able to control the tempo of the game. Scary Face is going to be more on the pick and push side of things, using that global silence whenever it's up to ensure that there's not going to be any follow-up from Empire so that they can find those reliable pickoffs. A lot of emphasis, as usual, is going to be put on Axmo's Blink Dagger for this slaughter, as we have a call for a 2-minute pause coming out from Empire, so we're going to be here for a little bit longer. A lot of people are asking about the stand-in for Scary Faces, and I really don't have much more information than what they said in the lobby. It'll be really interesting to see how Meow stacks up against Team Empire, and how well he's able to perform. Looks like the mid lane matchup is just going to be Queen of Pain versus Wind Ranger. General going against his direct replacement. Against Scary Faces. Always interesting to see when teams shuffle up their rosters and then play against their former teammates. We saw that yesterday too with Ramses, who is playing for the side of CIS Rejects. Scary Faces took that as a 2-1 victory, but Empire in general, and with General, have been looking very strong. And let's see if they're able to maintain that. Bounty Rune going to be claimed by the Wind Ranger and the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain opens up with Blink, and Wind Ranger will probably open up with Wind Run, although that is still yet to be seen. Silencer again going to pause the game, really off to a bit of a slow start in this full best of 5. As I said earlier, this best of 5 is to decide who gets to go to the LAN tournament in Vilnius. Let's see who's going to be victorious. Whoever loses here is eliminated. I don't think there's a second chance. Whoever loses this best of 5, which is one of the big reasons why it is a full best of 5. Making sure that whoever wins deserves it. And it's going to be a hard-fought victory, I want to say. Although a lot of bettors going into this match would have expected Empire to have a super significant advantage. And granted, I still think Empire probably the better team. I doubt this is going to be a 3-0 series. Or at least I hope not. Somewhat greedily, maybe. Well, the salve will be flown out to the Queen of Pain and Wind Ranger, and for the most part, that should be a fairly even lane. So I don't think we'll be looking at that too much unless Wind Ranger lands a good shackle, or maybe the Wind Ranger gets a little too over-aggressive. Top lane, it's going to be a Bane Slaughter. Usually a very potent lane, but with the amount of poke from these two supports, especially this Arctic Burn from the Winter Wyvern, and this is going to be really annoying for them to manage. No Fear's going to take a good amount of damage, but Silent's still able to farm, and the pole camp has him in block, so Witch Doctor's going to start running that one through now. For the safe lane of Scary Faces, it's going to be Silencer and Spirit Breaker against the Darkseer. This is not a bad lane at all for the Darkseer. Resolution should be having a pretty darn good time. Just pushing out the wave, although Silencer can kill off those creeps fairly reliably with the extra damage he's getting from Glaives of Wisdom. Has no natural way to sustain. Although with his extra range, probably won't be dying anytime soon to the Darkseer. They probably won't be killing off the Darkseer either. Unless they somehow manage to get a couple of extra bashes onto him, and the last word silences proc. A lot of our action will probably be isolated in this top lane. Of course, the Wind Ranger and Queen of Pain are going to be trading blows, and for now, both of them are going to be dropped low. General is going to be just fine. 2 points power shot wouldn't have been lethal if it connects on the Queen of Pain, but with a couple of auto attacks, maybe Meow's going to be able to snipe General. Well, for now, not going to try for it. Queen of Pain going to back off. Already forced to use that first salve, and now has to ferry out another one. This Wind Ranger's doing nicely when it comes to trading hits, but Empire looks like they're getting a slight advantage in farm. The Darkseer I already mentioned, not getting pressured much at all when it comes to getting his farm, but is going to trade some blows with the Spirit Breaker, though this is only a level 1 Spirit Breaker, so Artstyle's not going to be able to put a lot of damage into him. And Darkseer always has the Surge, so probably should be able to get out of next to anything. A slight early farm advantage for Empire, but nothing too significant. Now the polls will continue coming out from Team Empire. They'll be happy with the state of this top lane. A double wave pushing back in. Sheddy will try to interrupt this with a couple of illusions. We'll look to steal a couple of these CS, but if the chickens get them, or the Wild Wing Rippers rather, yeah, you won't get any experience from that. He gets one of the last hits though. And Bane actually going to secure another one, so he's pretty happy with how that turned out. Charging in mid. The Spirit Breaker is going to bump into the Queen of Pain, and he's diving the tower for it. Wind Ranger is nowhere close, and Artstyle's gone way too aggressive. I don't think he dies here. General doesn't have another Blink Scream for another 1 second, and that would be too deep. Power Shot Fly's not going to connect onto General. Now, that was just really awkward. If the Wind Ranger's close by, or just close enough to where she's able to get a clean power shot angle, maybe that even works if they get a lucky bash, and that probably was what Scary Faces were looking for. Still, Silent is owning it up in this top lane when it comes to farm. 22-9 compared to the next highest being 14-8 on the safe lane farming Silencer on the other side of the map. Even with a lot of farm, it's something that Scary Faces can manage somewhat, but still, farm spend does so much damage, especially in combo with the Darkseer, and especially if you give him First Blood. The First Blood will go to No Fear as they're able to come off after the Stormhammer. In the meantime, Queen of Pain again dropping low, but still, that's going to be a really quick start for Empire. This early game's looking pretty good for them. Brain Sap. Bane is going to get the return kill with a little bit of help from Artstyle. And Shadowy is going to be pretty happy with how that went. Oh, but his Slider, not so much. Slaughter wants to be saving up towards this Blink Dagger, but it's going to be so heavily delayed. Not a single CS on this hero yet. TPing in towards mid, they're going to pass over the bottle. Witch Doctor going to freshly refill that up, and General's now going to continue sustaining himself in lane. Even though a lot of these damage trades have been ending up poorly for the Queen, the CS is for the most part fairly even. I don't think anybody expected otherwise. Sven gonna open up with a Gloves of Haste. A potential Hand of Midas? I think he's doing well enough to where that's not a bad option. The only downside I really see the Hand of Midas is the slot that it's going to take up. As a Sven, you really do need every inventory slot that you can manage. Spirit Breaker finds a nice angle on this high ground, but he was spotted as he goes for his rotation by a Dire Ward and is gonna bump into Aloha Dance. Witch Doctor? I'm not sure if he's actually spotted the Spirit Breaker, but I think they have a pretty good idea of what angle he would be coming from. General needs to be careful. Not to get caught out by the Shackle at the very least. Even if he does, though, it's only level 1 Shackle. They have a haste rune on Mal, and they kind of want to go for it, but Witch Doctor is going to bump into Spirit Breaker, so he can't actually make that follow-up play. Slaughter coming around the corner. Axmo is going to be sitting on this low ground. Not going to find anything, though. A bit of a slow start. I don't think anybody's super surprised about that. It kind of feels like, although they do have a Stormhammer top lane, oh, maybe I spoke too soon about that slow start. The Splinter Blast's going to connect. They won't be able to kill off Axmo, but still this Slider really struggling. He's getting his experience, sure, but not much more than that. Meow in mid lane. It's going to drop fairly low, but fine, as the bottle's going to be flying out. Really, the big winners in this laning stage are the Darkseer and the Sven for Empire, as they're not getting pressured hardly at all. The Darkseer is going to be forced to salve up, but yeah, he's, in general, just having a really good time. Compared to the slider, at least. 2 levels advantage and way more CS. 26 times more CS, only 1 on the slider. Sven's gonna not go for that hand of Midas. Going for the Gloves of Haste first isn't super unconventional on this Sven. He tends to build a couple of Gloves of Haste items at the very least. Maybe even an armlet this game wouldn't be awful, but there is so much lockdown coming up from Scary Face that maybe that armlet isn't going to be the most reliable way to tank him up. Still is a good damage item on this Sven if he decides to go for it. Again, it's a situation where you really do need to be thinking about your 6-slotted build. An armlet isn't usually an item that you want to carry over towards a global. Silence is going to be committed. They're looking for the mid lane. Excuse me, I'm completely off the mark. 4 heroes mid, trying to kill this queen. They won't quite have the damage. Big rotation coming out from Scary Face is trying to involve Axmo, but this slider just not able to get that kill as they charge down towards bottom lane. While we get into the darks here, this is going to be hard, especially if RMN gets ganked beforehand. Drop very low mana-wise. They're not going to continue going on with that charge, but they get a bash onto poor Witch Doctor so low. They'll drop the Iron Shell onto the Witch Doctor. Slaughter trying to cut him off as he runs towards the north, but not going to be able to succeed. They get the bash onto the darks here. Spirit Breaker dropping low. Art South still going to survive. The South will be canceled on RMN, surging away. The Darkseer will find a little bit more space. Bane can't quite get in range and doesn't have the mana for the Nightmare. Salving up, TPing out. They are going to get the 2 heroes out over towards the right-hand side, but maybe not No Fear. The Winter Wyvern is going to die to the last hit coming out from Slardar, giving intelligence to RMN. Or did it? I saw the indicator, but I don't see it in his status bar. That's interesting. Regardless, I don't think I'll bother anybody too much. Phase boots are picked up by the Silencer, just looking for lane control and trying to stop the Darkseer from constantly pushing. I don't think this is a bad choice by any means as the Silencer, and after being involved in 1 kill, is going to be a lot closer to Sven in net worth. Still with an advantage, Silent is going to keep on farming, now with the Morbid Mask. Empire can start thinking about getting some stacks up in the Ancients. Sven, 2 points up in the Greater Cleave, could be able to clear those out. Maybe not super reliably, but reliably enough. Empire. They're grouped up, looking like they want to smoke. They're going to smoke up with No Fear, General, and the Witch Doctor leading the charge. Looking for a wraparound on this top lane. They have more than enough damage. This is one of Queen of Pain's soft peaks when you get the maxed out Scream and the ultimate up and ready. They're going to place down the ward, a very common ward when you go for this smoke rotation. A very good movement coming out from them. If it can pan off and get them the kill onto Artsau, they're going to open up with the Paralyzing Cask. I don't think there's a way he charges at it here. The Stormhammer will cancel it, and he's going to go down. Queen of Pain doesn't even need to use a Sonic Wave. It just comes that easily for them. Now Empire will transition into a Tier 1 tower push. On the other side of the map, Scary Faces have had their Wind Ranger left mostly alone in this mid lane for quite some time, as Meow is picking up a good amount of farm. Oh, Silencer, TP's top, is going to get Nightmare defensively. They'll toggle that over. Global Silence committed. RMN will stop the follow-up. But going into this top lane is very dangerous. Now No Fear is going to get last worded up. He will drop himself in the Cold Embrace. Stormhammer onto Axmo. The Sven is going to get stunned with the Sonic Wave. They'll kill off the Slaughter. Another bash onto No Fear. Winter Wyvern will die. Throws out that last Splinter Blast to kill off the Spirit Breaker with her dying breath. The blink away by the Queen of Pain. Shadowy is going to be fighting, but another Stormhammer and another kill? Or is it? Not with the Brain Sap. Shadowy so much damage with that 2 points Brain Sap. Although he is level 5 now and will have that 3rd point later. He got so many of those off inside that fight. That was so close to killing off our men. I thought almost for sure he'd go down. Sven just didn't have the appropriate follow-up there. 5-4. A very, very close game. It's really hard to tell who comes out on top in that last exchange. It still feels like the Sven got a lot of kill involvement there. Even though he dies, is still in a situation where he can fight and has actually gone for the max Stormhammer build. I thought maybe this would be a more power farming Sven, but he's ready to jump into these engagements. Does need to be careful with the Mask of Madness, but with that Mask of Madness can do quite a lot of damage if he gets on top of a target and is able to stick. Everybody's going to back off onto their side of the map as they all start to farm up. One of the few heroes that wasn't super involved in that last exchange is the Darkseer. And he's just going to be farming up inside the woods, looking presumably towards the mechanism. And it will have that a very good timing window. For the Silencer, I wonder what his item is going to be. He has the Staff of Wizardry available for himself. Most of the staff options for Silencer are pretty good. Probably a 4-staff this game to kite the Sven a little bit more. I would not be opposed to an Atos, though. Or even a Yule's Scepter. Queen of Pain starts showing Orchid pieces, maybe even goes Yule's. No matter what it is, just the 10 intelligence on the silencer gives you quite a lot of damage with those Glaives of Wisdom. Everybody's kind of playing a little bit more on the passive side. Waiting for that next round of items. The real big leap in power, the Blink Dagger on the Slaughter, isn't going to be coming out very quickly for Scary Faces. And it feels like Empire are the ones that are going to be able to make the next move with this mechanism purchased on the Darkseer. Queen of Pain, waiting inside the Roshan pit. Is going to poke her head down in the bottom area. Following up, if Queen of Pain bumps into anybody right now is pretty difficult, and Scary Faces do know where the Queen of Pain is pretty much at all times. Good ward coverage for this bottom lane. It'll keep the silencers safe. But now he has a little bit of backup. 3 points in the Shackle. This could definitely set them up kills, even on the very mobile Queen. Now, where's Darkseer going to go with this mechanism? Now it's flying out to himself. I think this is time for Empire to start grouping up and looking for a tower push. Queen of Pain really wanted that 12-minute rune. Not going to happen. Blinks out after spotting a glimpse of the enemy team. Drawing the lines on the map, Darkseer wants to push down the bottom lane, group up with his team, take down these structures. Let's see how successful it's going to be. Empire have all of their major tools available, with the exception being Witch Doctor's ultimate. But Witch Doctor ultimate, oh, blink in, they're going for RMN, the charge forward though, General's dropping low, and is going to die to last word if nothing else. The mechanism sustains him, the Shackle not going to connect, General, but it's a little bit more space, the power shot doesn't land. And then the Queen of Pain barely ekes out because of the Darkseer's mechanism, Sonic Wave on the back lines. Everybody's low, the only one to die yet is the Witch Doctor, but now they charge forward on the Witch Doctor, excuse me, is the only one to die. Now they charge forward for the Darkseer, Shackle gonna land, they're gonna focus fire him down, double kill for Art Styles. The Sven also lies on the floor, no fear is getting crushed up after that nightmare, power shot through. Great that they're able to save the Queen of Pain's life, but that was anything but clean for Empire. Scary Faces were the ones that had control over that, mostly due to the global silence early. Empire weren't able to really back up in a very convincing fashion. They kind of trickle in one after another as they just get shackled, crushed, and in general controlled up by Scary Faces. 9-5 is our kill score after that all settles down. It felt like Scary Faces were mostly prepared for that. Sen was not able to have the impact that he really wanted, although it was a nice Sonic Wave from the Queen of Pain. She found a really good angle for it. The follow-up damage after that Sonic Wave was next to nothing. Scary Faces, the real winners in these last couple of fights are going to be the supporting cast coming out from SFZ. Now that Sauter's not too far away from having that Blink Dagger. 1,600 gold in the bank or so. Empire by no means have lost their early advantage they got in the laning stage entirely. Still a minor gold lead, but the experience is now swinging in the favor of Scary Faces, and it feels like both of these teams can take fights on a pretty even margin. Wind Ranger has the regeneration rune, although for now doesn't have a lot of mana. Those shackles really were one of the big turning factors inside that fight. Anytime that Empire tried to commit into something, oh, you're shackled, you can't do anything for that next large duration of time. I think it was a level 3 shackle, just the 3-second stun. It's still enough. Looking towards that Aghanim Scepter next. The Queen of Pain's item build is going to be Yule's from General, in fact, to deal with that global, which is such an annoying tool. If it weren't for the mechanism, Queen of Pain would have died for sure because of that global silence. I was even surprised that she's able to make it out alive. In general, just really good play coming out from the Queen of Pain for Empire. And the 4-staff's done on the silencer. These teams are getting pretty even leaps in power across the board, and Sen's probably going to have his own mobility item. And what looks to be a Blink Dagger. Sell the Stout Shield, pick up the Blink? Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the play for Silent. And with this Blink Dagger, is able to get in position a lot easier to follow up after those Queen of Pain Sonic Waves, maybe most importantly. Another lull in the action. Neither team are super comfortable going for these fights unless they can isolate a single hero out alone, but everybody's so close together that they're able to back each other up, and we're just going to wait for the Blink Dagger on the Slaughter. But interesting, Witch Doctor picking up the Hand of Midas. I think this kind of fits the state of the game now for Empire, and the Witch Doctor, even once he gets an Aghanim Scepter, if he decides to rush it, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough because of the global silence. It's such an easy tool to cancel out Witch Doctor ultimate from anywhere, even with BKB. Empire looking for the wraparound themselves. The Blink Dagger on these melee initiating cores really is the turning point for aggression as Empire grouping up. Ion Shell in the Darkseer, Ion Shell in the Sven. They are going to spot her, go for a power shot. Now with the Stormhammer, they're going to open up a global silence. Can they stop anything? They're gripping up Young God. The Witch Doctor is going to be dropped low. Nice wall. Sonic Wave over the top. They'll kill the Bane. Power shot will fly. Winter's Curse, though, onto the Spirit Breaker. He's going to be destroyed. And Silence able to get so much damage off here. On the backlines, they will lose the Witch Doctor, but almost the entire Scary Faces team lies dead. The only survivor is the Slaughter. And with that survival, was able to buy himself the Blink Dagger, but does that even matter? And can he get out alive? Looks like he will be able to get himself to safety. Now that was an initiation that Empire can be happy with. The Sven was able to not only get off a decent Stormhammer, but was able to stick around inside the fight and keep on right-clicking. The grip was spent. A lot of commitment onto this Witch Doctor into the backlines. Although, of course, Witch Doctor is not something you could ignore inside these fights. Scary Faces, it feels like they overcommitted a little bit. And maybe that's what happened that last fight, too. Whoever's able to bring down that first hero seems to have a pretty significant edge. The amount of chase on both of these teams in lockdown is pretty insane. Tier 1 tower bottom lane is going to be taken down by the Queen Pain. She right-clicks that down. Get the tower destruction there, but Witch Doctor? Oh, Witch Doctor might be in a bit of a pickle here. Gonna be shackled to a tree. I don't really see a way out of this except for the Sven coming around. The right-click damage from the Spirit Breaker, not enough because of the Cold Embrace. Slaughter comes in, trying to kill off Aloha Dance. Will die to the Brain Sap. Nobody's died yet in return. They're going to Nightmare up the Sven. Sven's Nightmare is going to be taken out by the Urn Charge. Nether Strike is there, though, and with one bash afterwards, Spearbreaker is going to kill him off. And now they're going to get a stun onto No Fear. Shackle! Nice latch onto the Darkseer, as well as the Winter Wyvern, bashing up the Darkseer. A couple more right-clicks, and Scary Faces have control of this fight. Oh, that Shackle. My goodness, sometimes they're just the best stun in the game. We can isolate two heroes like that. The Sven's starting to lose a little bit of intelligence after dying a couple times in these fights, and for most heroes that's annoying, but for Sven that's really important. If he's spamming out that Mask of Madness and running around the map with the Warcry, is really going to have to be very cognizant of his mana usage. The Arcane Boots aren't yet out for the Witch Doctor if he's even going to go for them, and Winter Wyvern doesn't have a pair either. Something Empire do need to be a little bit worried about, although not super concerned. General going to get charged up. And that's going to be Artstyle calling the Queen of Pain's bluff. He has a Bane behind him. He has a Slaughter too with the Blink Crush. And Queen of Pain is going to be repelled. Can't go in there alone. Our men on the Silencer isn't nearly as farmed as the Sven, but the Global Silence has been such an important tool for Scary Faces that it doesn't really need to be. The Sven needs a lot more items to be able to contribute than the Silencer. The Sven needs this Blink, needs this Mask of Madness to increase his farming speed and his initiation. He needs the BKB, but even that's not going to be enough. Silent kind of needs to be at the situation where he is at least half an item, maybe a full item ahead of the Silencer. For now, he is. But this advantage for Empire is very fragile. Scary Faces have shown that they're still able to fight into it if they find the good initiations, and there might be one in bottom lane. Charging forward for this Darkseer. He's going to buy a little bit more space. Turns for the vacuum. Nice cancel on the charge. And he won't be able to continue any further. The Radiant team's vision also helping them out a lot. Control over the river area across the board, and it's allowing Scary Faces to turn around any of the aggressive movements coming up from Empire. But Empire aren't heartbroken about this either. They're able to power farm Ancients. More importantly, they're able to farm Ancients a lot better than Scary Faces, who don't really have the heroes to do so. Sven is going to further accelerate his farm. The Darkseer and Queen of Pain also not falling too far behind. Queen of Pain, even after going for that Yule Scepter, is more than halfway towards her full Aghanim Scepter. Slaughter is going to look around the rune area, picks up a double damage rune for himself, and won't bump into any of the enemy team. 14-9. There have been a lot of initiations, but they seem to be very explosive when they happen. It's always a large fight, never these small pickoffs that Scary Face has been looking for. Maybe until now. They're going to get a charge up onto Darkseer. Darkseer is going to have some TP support. Another vacuum. Man, he's been on point. So frustrating for the Spirit Breaker in that case. I mean, it's probably still worth it to go for those charges, and Vacuum does have a long cooldown if they take the fight instantly afterwards. But they just can't connect onto him. Alright, man. Oh, don't even breathe. Do they know? They're going to eat through a couple of these trees. And silencer. Ooh, bumps into the Queen of Pain. You'll Scepter RMN. Think you walked in the wrong neighborhood. Here's the Sven. Global Silence TP. The right click damage is not lethal, I don't think. And RMN will live, although it forces out the Global Silencer next to nothing, and now they might be able to chase down Artstyle. Witch Doctor ultimate. Look at it go. That's going to be a dead Spirit Breaker as he explodes the Maledict, doing 441 damage. What's that? Huge amount. Mostly it's the Witch Doctor pulling that weight. With Global Silence off the table, Witch Doctor's ultimate is a force to be reckoned with. Witch Doctor does now have those arcane boots and is going to look for a deep ward. Radiant team don't know exactly where he is. Witch Doctor? Oh, this is a scary situation for the Witch Doctor. You don't see very much. But now he might see enough to leave? Are you going to get a courier snipe? I don't think so. He doesn't know this courier is coming out. Or does he? No, Witch Doctor is on an island here. He's made himself a little home inside the trees. He'll be fine. A little cabin in the woods next to that hill. He has a TP at any time if he wants to get out. And I think this is about the time because Empire have the BKB on the Sven. Silence ready to go. They still need to be careful about how they take these initiations, but in this lull in the action, RMN's felt comfortable enough to go for a late hand of Midas on this silencer. I think that's fine, but it might be hurting their fighting potential a little bit, as Empire have a lot of crucial items coming out for their key heroes. You have the Blink Mech on Darkseer, you have Queen of Pain, whose Aghanim Scepter is only a couple hundred gold away. Oh, I say a couple hundred, 1,300 or so. And the Sven who has his BKB, but another Midas coming out is really, it seems to be Midas Gaming. I don't think it hurts Scary Face's fight enough to where they need to be super concerned. Meow can carry a lot of the damage output concerns that Scary Faces might have with these Midas pickups, as long as they get amp targets and as long as they find good angles for initiation. 20 seconds till the next Global Silence. This small window for Empire has closed itself, but they're still out farming the Scary Faces side and getting more on Silent in particular. Even through these hands of Midas. 14-10. Still could be anybody's game, but Empire are a little bit more comfortable with this current pace of things. Scary Faces haven't been able to find a kill for the longest of times, it seems. That last exchange was just a tower destruction by Scary Faces. It has been quite a long while. Sven is going to go down towards the bottom lane, and Silent is just going to throw out the Stormhammer. I think he knows that there's like an entire enemy team behind there. He's going to play very defensively here and wait for the rest of his teammates. Queen of Pain's getting some pretty significant damage on this tier 2 tower top, though. Even if they don't take out the tier 2, losing this tier 1 in the bottom lane isn't that important for Empire. Of course, since they already lost the tier 1 tower mid, it is a little bit more important than that tier 1 is in other games for responding around the Roshan pit. But again, Empire aren't going to be heartbroken as their Sven continues to farm. Feels like we are in more of one of these farming games, which is so surprising with the aggressive potential of both of these teams, but I think it is that aggressive potential that is making them hesitant. Scary Faces aren't comfortable taking engagement, neither Empire. The counter initiations really have been what have done it. And now Empire going to the Roshan pit. Scary Faces aren't as comfortable as Empire, fighting inside such enclosed quarters. If the Darkseer can find a good vacuum, that's just a one fight from there with the Winter's Curse and Sonic Wave follow-up. They're only committing the Sven and Winter Wyvern into the pit for now, using a God Strength in order to take this out. Not the fastest Roche, but a pretty reliable one, unless Scary Faces can scout this. They're around the bottom half of the map. Looks like Scary Faces have a pretty good idea that Empire are in this area. Sven going to show himself, and they're getting cold feet. The Dire team have spotted the rotation from Scary Faces. Now they're smoked up and looking for Blood Axmo. It's going to be leading the charges. They bump into Roshan. They find that it's half down. The smoke has not yet popped. The entire team of Empire is around the corner. We could be in for the first major fight in a long time. How's it going to go down with that amp damage? They're taking it so low, vacuum back onto 3, but Global Silence, they can't follow it up. The BKB's on the Sven, but stunned by that bash coming out from the Spirit Breaker. Now Nether struck up. Silence BKB time is getting wasted massively. Winter's Curse and Shadowy with the Witch Doctor ultimate. Shadowy will fall, and here comes the Focus Fire. No Fear is going to die. 1-for-1 support exchange as Witch Doctor continues to channel that ultimate. Right click onto the Slaughter. He's going to die as they charge forward for that pesky Witch Doctor. Oh, Artstyle's going in mostly alone. He doesn't have a lot of follow-up, and it looks like the Witch Doctor will survive. Shackle onto the Darkseer, and Scary Faces have lost that engagement. I thought for sure that would go a lot better for Scary Faces, considering how it started. That Global Silence was at a perfect timing window. Could have gone a lot worse if they didn't get that Global Silence immediately after vacuum, and then you have any sort of follow-up. Sven was able to pop his BKB, wasted a lot of that duration, but by that time, Scary Faces have to commit so many tools just to stop Silent and hold him in place, where they're not really damaging the Sven and just kind of saving him for later. And at that point, especially with them focusing so much onto the Bane, it really just didn't have much in the tank. Oh, nice attempt to deny coming up with the Wind Ranger. That was really cute. Not going to work out, though. 15-13. And Empire pick up momentum. The Aegis Immortal is claimed, however, by Scary Faces, making that a lot closer to an even exchange than it would look on paper. Still with that tier 2 falling immediately after the fact in favor of Empire, I think they're the ones with the slight advantage, and I'm pretty sure the metrics will agree with me. 5,000 net worth lead at this point is definitely not something to scoff at, and the experience advantage is even more significant in the favor of Empire. Still, anybody could win this game. It's such a delicate situation for either side if the execution just isn't 100% on point. I'm really surprised Witch Doctor's finding as many good death wards as he has. Aloha Dance, it really is just finding nice angles. And right after the Global Silence is used, after all of the CC is used by Scary Faces, and at that point he finds himself a pretty straightforward kill onto whoever he has isolated. Empire going to push down towards bottom, whereas Scary Faces are pushing up towards top. The tier 1 tower still stands for Empire in their safe lane. The tier 2 tower on bottom is already very banged up. Empire, if they want to, could probably try and make a defense, but do they even need to do that? The tier 1 for tier 2 tower trade is in and of itself good enough, and Empire can force them back just by continuing to push high ground. Scary Faces backed off with their Bane Spirit Breaker, and now they're going to TP in another as the Wind Ranger wants to join the fray. Empire have retreated. A successful trade for them. Maybe they can catch out RMN on the retreat. He has a 4-staff TP, but this Queen of Pain has a Yule's Scepter. RMN does need to be careful. But the Queen of Pain doesn't quite have the vision to go for that. Doesn't really see much further than the creep wave. The wards placed down by Empire are very good for spotting out rotations inside the woods of Scary Faces, and very good, at least that high ground one, for continuing to push for that tier 2, and then just recently they placed one further more in the lane. Sven charged up in mid. Not going to continue. Again, a bit of a slow pace, but Queen of Pain is going to get blink crushed. Good initiation from the starter. Can they follow up? They get the bash. She's held in place. General's going to be able to blink out of there, but here's a blink shackle. The Yule Scepter is going to buy a little bit more time. The crush is a little bit ill-timed. Doesn't matter. Slaughter ends the dominating streak. Oh, nice pickup for Scary Faces. This ward paying for itself and then some there. Spotting out the Queen of Pain. They know she's mostly alone there, if not completely alone. And they'll be able to bring her down. And that's also without a Global Silence. Scary Faces can still fight. Maybe Artstyle in a bit of trouble. He's charging aggressively forward. They get the crush onto the Witch Doctor. Winter's Curse committed. So is the Global Silence. They'll grip up Young God, and Aloha Dance is going to fall. A lot of commitment by Scary Faces works out for them in the end. Especially since Empire have to use their Winter's Curse for a not alive Witch Doctor. They'll end up going down with Scary Faces committing just as much as Empire did trying to save him. The Sven will keep on farming, and Sven, Queen of Pain, and Darkseer all super farm. But it doesn't feel like these items are enough to keep them safe, at the very least. I still think Empire have an amazing fight, especially if Scary Faces try to push high ground. That's one of the biggest issues I have with their lineup, is the fact that pushing high ground is going to be really hard. Into a Darkseer, Winter Wyvern, I mean, that whole teamfight combination for Empire is ridiculous. Tier 2 tower is going to be pressured down to half HP. Scary Faces, however, can't commit all the way. Everybody on Empire is respawning, and they're still at a farm disadvantage. Aegis Immortal also expiring very soon for the Wind Ranger is only going to be there for a couple more seconds, maybe 10 to 15. With it, maybe Wind Ranger is able to find another pickup on the Queen of Pain. Again, this ward might pay off and then some. She shows herself to the creep wave, but they know the Queen of Pain's sticking around after that wave, so the Wind Ranger's ready. Aegis is reclaimed, though, and Meow this time around is alone, and they have a pretty good idea that everybody's backing them up. The Spirit Breaker draws a circle on the map, the Wind Ranger will retreat, and TP's away, with no longer having that Aegis. Even without the Aegis, the Wind Ranger is doing a lot of damage, but she's very easily controlled. She doesn't have a defensive item yet. I suppose the Blink does have mixed defensive utility, but if she gets CC'd, there's so much follow-up for Empire. And now Empire, knowing that that Aegis has been reclaimed, or at least probably knowing that Aegis has been reclaimed, I'm sure they took the timer, are going to push down to this tier 2 that's already pretty banged up. Mask of Madness pop by this Sven, you don't even need God Strength for it. They're going to pop the War Cry, and they're already so tanky. This is even before the Assault QS is out. Tower is going to be dropped down to deny range. And it looks like they might be able to take this denial. The Darkseer surging forward, gets a huge vacuum Stormhammer! Sven with a Sonic Wave, and the God Strength is cleaving through enemies like butter. Oh, Empire. That's the combo I was talking about in the draft. And it is so devastating when it connects. That was beautiful. No buybacks on any of these heroes. They're going to blink back behind the tier 3 because they can. Shackle not going to latch to the Darkseer. Actually, it is. Over the tower. But Windranger in a bit of a pickle here. Gets Stormhammered. They can't hit her yet, but with the Ion Shell still taking her down, the Windranger might die inside her base. They'll chase forward for the Bane. Glimmer caping away from that Witch Doctor ultimate. Empire maybe getting a little ahead of themselves, but both the Bane and the Windranger are now stuck inside the base. They have to heal up or else they just can't fight. And now their high ground is getting pressured. Tier 3 tower dropping melee barracks and range barracks. A little bit of split focus from Empire, but they can afford to do that because they should be able to get both. Starting with the melee barracks, they're going to take that down. Another Shackle latches, but a 4-step away. General will be fine. Charging forward, Artstyle wants a piece of this. The Spirit Breaker's really far out, away from the rest of his team. Can't get out the Nether Strike. Sonic Wave over on the Bane as just a parting gift from Empire. Meow blinking forward, looking for a Shackle. Can you find the Winter Wyvern? Fly! Be free, no fear! And it looks like he will be. TPing out. Winter Wyvern survives. Oh my goodness. No, Scary Faces are not able to defend their melee barracks. They don't lose their range at the very least. But with that ranged barracks standing only on about half HP, eventually it's going to fall. Just to the constant creep pressure coming out from Empire. And now it feels like they're really able to use this farm advantage that they've had after just one good fight. The Assault QS done on the Sven. He has 1200 gold inside the bank. Scary Faces have really just been slowed down to a pace that they're not comfortable playing with this draft. They want to be very proactively moving around the map, finding Blink Crush into the Windranger damage to get pickoff after pickoff. With these Hands of Midases, they're still able to get a good amount of farm, but not nearly as much as Empires. This Sven is just power farming way faster than the Silencer. Iron Man has no natural flash farming capabilities. No cleave, no great spells for doing it either. He has a Forced Lincolns. Kind of mediocre for the Silencer at this point. Oh, inside the Radiant Woods, they catch out Artstyle as well as Shadowy Sonic Wave, and the Bane is blown sky high. Glimmer Cape will remain on the Spirit Breaker a little while longer, but now slowed. Witch Doctor ultimate. That's going to be another death. And Empire find another 2 freebies inside the enemy woods. And now picking up a gem. Empire are really now hitting their timing window hard. They played a little bit passively inside this game, but not at the cost of their their win condition compared to Scary Faces. Scary Faces kind of need to be the team on the aggressive. And any second where they're not finding kills, that's just time where the Sven farms, where the Queen of Pain also getting pretty major items. She has the Shivas flying out. Or is that actually going to be a Shivas? Oh yeah, it will be. 4 staff into the base, so get the Witch Doctor isolated, but can't follow up. The Spirit Breaker and the Bane just now respawning. Empire do have amp damage applied to a lot of their heroes, and it looks like they're going to back off, at least for now. But Empire can go to the Roshan if that's up. It hasn't respawned yet, going to be up there in 50 seconds. Now can the Scary Faces punish on the retreat? This is a window for them to get a couple of kills. They're going to get the initiation onto Aloha Dance, but the Witch Doctor has backup still. Axmo is going to take the Stormhammers, the Sonic Wave on the backlines, and the Vacuum. They'll get the silence on the General with the Global, and with the Fiend's Grip, General's dropping low. They don't get quite enough crits, able to use himself up in the air. Can the Queen of Pain survive with the Blink Out? She will. Stormhammer committed. Sven, again, this cleave damage is absurd. Triple kill for Silent, and now he's looking to make it an Ultra, and he will. GG called out. Scary Faces lose game number 1. Empire never once in this game felt like they really lost control of it. There were a couple times where Scary Faces had the chance to slow down this lead coming out from Empire. It was just a slow and steady victory, very safe and reserved play, and in general that was very good for their draft. They had a terrifying late game. We saw that Sven being able to contribute even with so many kiting tools on Scary Faces. A really well executed game number 1. Team Empire will start off the best of 5 on the right foot. Let's see if Scary Faces can bring it back. Fighting for their spot in Vilnius. I've been Grandis V. We'll be back with game number 2 in just a minute. Stay tuned.